If you'd like to work along with me at home, open the Project Files folder, Lesson 7 folder, and then Printing 01. In previous versions of Excel, you could easily send your document to the printer by clicking the Quick Print icon in the toolbar at the top of the screen. But starting in Excel 2007, Microsoft decided to not put that button on the toolbar. Here we have the Quick Access toolbar, and it contains a Save, Undo, and a Redo button by default, but no Print button, and there's no Print button anywhere in the Home tab. Now, we're going to add that Quick Print button in a few seconds, but for now, let's take a look at the way Microsoft thinks that you should print by using the File tab. We'll go to the File tab, and this takes us into Backstage View, where we're going to choose Print. And here we have all of our print stuff set up in one convenient window. We have the big old print preview over here on the right-hand side, which shows us the first page of our printed document. To print the entire document and just accept Excel's default way of doing things, you just click the Print button. This won't ask you any questions. It doesn't give you any opportunity to change the way things behave. You're just going to get a quick down and dirty, throw it on the page, and let Excel decide how it's laid out. Sometimes that's all you need. In fact, a lot of times that's all you need. So if you fall into the camp that thinks that 3 mouse clicks is too many to get to that point where you actually get something sent to the printer, well, you're in luck, because we can add that Quick Print button to the Quick Access toolbar. Let's take a look at how that works. We'll go back to the Home tab, and then in the Quick Access toolbar, go right to the right-hand side, click the drop-down arrow, and then just choose Quick Print. And there it is. That'll be available to you every time you open Excel from now on. While we're here, let's also add the Print Preview and Print button. This button will instantly take us to Backstage View, right into the staging area for the print. Now I'd like to go back to the Home tab, and I wanted to point out that once you've been in Print Preview, you're going to see this vertical dotted line here. This represents the right edge of the printed page. It doesn't print because it is, after all, the right edge of the page. If you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see that there's one that comes across the bottom as well. This indicates the bottom edge of the printed page. So you should see these dotted lines after you leave Print Preview for the first time. Okay, now that we've taken care of the quick fix, let's go back now and look at Print Preview in Backstage View. In previous versions of Excel, the Print Preview button took you to a dedicated Print Preview page. Wow, say that 3 times real fast. Here in Excel 2010, there is no dedicated Print Preview page. Here, all we have to work with is the Print Preview in Backstage View. By default, the Print Preview shows us the first page of the document that it's going to print. If there are more pages, you'll see them listed in the bottom left-hand corner. Here we can see that we're on page 1 of 4. To navigate to the next page, you click the Next Page button. Let's continue. Here's page 3 and page 4. Now, page 1 looked pretty good, didn't it? When we go to page 2, that doesn't look too bad, but what the heck is going on here with page 3 and page 4? Well, this is Excel's way of throwing things onto the page. Since there isn't enough room on the physical page to print all the data in the worksheet, Excel has to decide what to do with all the data that won't fit, and so it just puts it on separate pages. Easily this document could fit on 1 or 2 pages and be made to look pretty nice, and you certainly wouldn't want to print it the way it is and give it to your boss or a shareholder. So in the upcoming videos in this lesson, we're going to talk about how to control the way this stuff gets printed on the page. Let's take a look in the bottom right-hand corner where we have 2 buttons here. This one's called Zoom to Page, and when you click it, it zooms you in and allows you to see more of the printed page. Let's go back to page 1. Then you can scroll around to see whatever you want to see. I'm going to click that same button again to zoom back out, and then go over to the Margins button. The Show Margins button shows you the margins on your page as lines at the top, bottom, left, and right of your page. So if you decide that you need a left margin that isn't quite so wide, you can use the mouse to grab the left margin and drag it to the left. If you want a bottom margin adjustment, just grab the bottom margin and drag it up or down. Excel provides several different ways of adjusting your margins, and we're going to talk about those in the upcoming videos in this lesson. So for now, let's just go over and take a look at some of the other options that are available to us. If you need to adjust the number of copies that you want to print, you can just type in a new value here or use the spinners to spin up the number of copies. If you have multiple printers available to you, you could select the printer that you want to send this document to from the list. Some of the settings that you'll see here are also reflected in the page layout view that we're going to talk about in the next couple videos. Portrait orientation, page size, margin settings, and scaling are all going to be subjects of those videos, so we're not going to talk about them here. But we will take a look at this one right here, what to print. First off, I'd like to go back out to the Home tab, where we're going to notice that we're on Worksheet Example 1. And here's Worksheet Example 2. So the question is, of these two worksheets, which one is going to print? Or are they both going to print? Well, by default, Excel will only print the active worksheet. So right now, this is the one that would print. Let's click the Print Preview button and go back and take a look at this setting. Print active sheets. That's the way it's set by default. But if you want to print the entire workbook, both worksheets in this case, you can change this to say Print Entire Workbook. And then we have Print Selection. Well, what's that? Well, let's go back out to the Home tab, and we'll just select a little bit of the Chicago stuff right here. Maybe just this much. Now we have a selection. We'll click Print Preview and tell Excel to print just that selection. And now in Print Preview, you can see just that little range of cells right there. If you have a multi-page document and you only want to print specific pages, you could type in the pages that you want here or use the spinners to select a value. Here I just want to print page 2 to 4. If you want to print on both sides of your page, Excel provides a way of stopping the printing after each page so you can flip the page over in your printer. And that's what this is. I should also point out the Page Setup link here at the bottom. When you click this button, it takes you to the Page Setup dialog box. This dialog box has been around for the last 100 years. It hasn't changed very much over the years either. In previous versions of Excel, if you needed to make finite adjustments to your margins or your header or footer, or to change the way your page scales when it prints on the page, this was the only place you could come to do it. But in this version, we have faster, more convenient tools right on the ribbon, and we're going to take a look at those in the next couple of videos. So we'll just cancel out of here, back to the Home tab, and we'll take a look at one more thing. For this, we want to go to the Page Layout tab and look in the Sheet Options group. And here we have checkboxes for grid lines and headings. Well, we've seen in previous videos that if you uncheck the View box, that the grid lines disappear from your worksheet. But you may also know from those same videos that grid lines don't print anyway. You can see that if you go back to Print Preview, no grid lines. Let me just zoom in here. However, if you go back to Page Layout again and check the box that says Print underneath grid lines, now let's take a look at that in Print Preview, and there they are. Back to Page Layout again. So now we have the headings. What's that all about? Well, if you uncheck headings in the view, now your row and column headings disappear. If you want to print those guys, you just put a checkbox here. Let's see what that looks like. Back to Print Preview, and here you can see the letters at the top of the columns and the numbers at the side of the rows. I've opened another workbook here. This is called Print Area, and you'll find it in your Project Files Lesson 7 folder. This workbook contains over 1,000 rows of data, and this one little area over here that summarizes that data using a pivot table. We're going to talk about pivot tables in our Advanced series. But for now, all we need to know is that we will never want to print the entire worksheet. Every time we print this worksheet, we only want to print this one little area right here. So we're going to set this up as the default print area. To do that, select the cells. When you click on any cell or select any cells in this range, you'll find the Pivot Table Tools contextual tab opening up here. We're just going to ignore that and go over to the Page Layout tab and choose the Print Area button. And then click Set Print Area. You can then click away from that range of cells and forget it. When you save your workbook, this will now become the default setting for every time you print the document. Let's take a look at what it looks like when we do a print preview. There it is, just that one little range of cells. So, no muss, no fuss, show me the money. If you ever need to clear that print area, you can go back to the Page Layout tab, click the Print Area button, and just say Clear Print Area. Or, of course, you could even add to the print area if you want to. We'll just clear that for now. Now, whenever we print the document, Excel will print the entire worksheet.